know it seems like the NFL draft has come and gone quicker than Antonio Brown's career with the Raiders, and every single year, the Raiders seem to surprise us, like finding out that Kane and The Undertaker aren't actually really brothers.
What?
And aside from day one, the Raiders focus on the most glaring need in this year's draft, and no, it wasn't finding a barber for Mark Davis, it was going out and drafting players on the defensive side to help this horrible defense. And is it me, or did it seem like they let John Gruden pick the first pick and then they kicked his ass out of the draft room and then they felt bad and brought him back for the last pick? No? Okay. And though plenty of fans were shocked and frustrated after day one, the Raiders made up for it on day two. Kind of like when you were a little kid and you passed by McDonald's and you asked your mom for that McDonald's and she said no, there's food at home, and you went home frustrated and mad, and the next day your mom feels bad for you, so she goes to that McDonald's, she buys you that Happy Meal for your jabroni ass, and you're happy all over again. It was kind of like that. Now before I get too far off topic, this is your boy Samoan Raider, and let's recap the 2021 Las Vegas draft class. Knock on Leatherwood if you're with me.
And you tell them one thing, just win, baby.
So day one starts and the spectacle is going crazy. Everybody's up in Cleveland. Everybody all around the nation is just excited for the NFL draft, as well as the Raider Nation. We were all home, sitting, chilling. Other than my boy Graphic, he was out, live in Cleveland, holding it down for the Raider Nation. But for all of us around here, not in Cleveland, we were all excited for the draft to actually start. And there was so many different options, so many different players, so many different scenarios. We didn't know what the Raiders were gonna do on day one. And man, I was happy that it was finally here. I got to link up with a lot of dope content creators out there and just talk Raiders football with you guys throughout this whole weekend. But let's talk about the Raiders and who they selected at number 17. And knowing now that this would be a controversial pick, Mike Mayock and the Raiders, they stuck up the middle fingers to everybody and got their number one guy at number 17, getting Alex Leatherwood, offensive tackle out of Alabama, standing at 6'6", 312 pounds, starting 41 games, a two-time national champion, the winner of the Outland Trophy, which goes to the top interior lineman. We got a behemoth of a man on the offensive line. Now, he does have the size, the strength, the versatility to play inside as a guard or tackle on both sides. The only struggles that I see with him is against the pass, and hopefully he can perfect that going into the NFL, because we're gonna need that. And I feel like it'll be a little bit easier on the right side because he did play left tackle over at Alabama. Now, was I initially surprised with this pick? Yes, of course I was surprised with this pick. I believe the rest of the Raider Nation was surprised with this pick. But does this mean that he's going to be a bad player in the NFL? No, I don't believe so. I think that he will be a good player in the NFL. We just did not expect him to go here. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say that we could have gotten him in the second round. I mean, possibly, but not at 48. I thought there was a lot of other players that we could have got, at 48 if we didn't get Alex Leatherwood. But if that was their number one guy, then I understand why they stayed pat and wanted to get him here. Now, there's other fans saying that we could have traded back in the first round and still got him. Again, possibly, but it takes two to tango. And I guess there was an offer on the table, and Mike Mayock said that there was a team wanting to move up. One, I heard it wasn't even a good offer, and two, it was a team looking for a tackle. And again, like I said before, if this was their number one prospect and the guy that they wanted at this pick, and they didn't want another team to get him, then I understand the reasoning behind the Raiders getting him at 17. And though we all wanted to get Merrick in the first round, Jock, even getting Darrisaw and Tevin Jenkins, the Raiders said that Leatherwood was their highest graded player on their board offensively and defensively, so they didn't want to take any chances in the second round. Obviously, John Gruden wanted to get another offensive lineman, and if you look at our offensive line, we're much younger, we're much cheaper, and we have a line that can grow together and flourish in the league, and we could be one of the top offensive lines in the NFL. So if you're looking at our starting offensive line as of right now, you have Cole Miller at that left tackle position, you got Richie Incognito at that left guard, we got Andre James at center, we got Denzel Good at right guard, and we got Alex Leatherwood at that right tackle position. And I believe he's going to turn into that player that we all wanted Trent Brown to be without all the baby issues. He's now coming over to a Raiders team, and he's going to be reuniting with his former players and Henry Ruggs and Josh Jacobs. Overall, even with all the criticism, Alex Leatherwood is going to have to just go out there and prove everybody wrong, even some Raider fans as well. And with Tom Cable as our offensive line coach, I believe that he will mold Leatherwood into one of the top offensive linemen in the NFL. Now, after having such an emotional day on Thursday, the Raiders made it up to the Raider Nation by trading up to the 43rd overall pick and getting the #1 safety in this year's draft, Trayvon Merrick out of TCU. The two-time All-Big 12 honoree in 2019 and 2020, and also the winner of the Jim Thorpe Award, which goes out to the best DB in the nation. Tom Cable got his guy in the first round, and now Gus Bradley gets his guy here in round 2. And it's kind of crazy to me because he was the 3rd safety off the board. We already know that Javon Holland went off, Richie Grant went off, and the Raiders had the cojones to move up and get Trayvon Merrick, which, man, it still gets me to this day because I was so happy when I found out we actually got Trayvon Merrick in the 2nd round. Woo-wee. Now, Mike Mayock did say that he wanted to trade up into the 1st round to get Merrick, and I thought he would have did that, with those 2 third-round picks, but they stayed pat and waited on the board to fall to them, and they were looking at 44. The Cowgirls were sitting there, and they knew that Merrick was going to get off the board, and after seeing those 2 safeties go off the board earlier, they wanted to get their safety. So I give the Raiders a lot of credit moving up to the San Francisco 49ers, ringing them up and asking, yo, and let's make a deal. So we traded away our 48 overall pick in the 121 to go get their 43rd and the 230. And we ended up getting our guy here in the 2nd round. Now, for once in my life, I don't hate the Niners just as much because, they actually helped our team, helped us get the safety for the future. So you guys are off the hook right now. Now, when you look at Trayvon Merrick, he is the whole package. He's the highest graded safety in college football, allowing only 2 of 17 contested catches to be caught. He's a versatile deep safety and also can play in the slot. An explosive player, he's elite in coverage and has high IQ. Now, I know a lot of people, they're kind of worried because he doesn't have the best tackling ability, but playing in Gus Bradley's single high safety role, he doesn't have to be the best tackler. And I know a lot of people are going to say he's not the fastest guy out there. He ran a 4.5, but again, does that really matter? Now, the only reason I believe that Trayvon Merrick fell was because of his back issue, which we all found out about later. And when Mike Mayock, was talking about this, he said that he did have trainers look at it and they believed that it wasn't going to be a big issue going, into this season. And if the Raiders have 0 issues with it, then I have 0 issues with it. Overall, I believe that Merrick can step in as a day 1 starter alongside of Jonathan Abram, and man, I cannot wait to see this guy play in the silver and black, and we do need help at safety, and the fact that we addressed it here in day 2, I'm just really happy. And I know if you guys are still holding a grudge against the Raiders, getting Alex Leatherwood in the 1st round, look at the bright side, guys. If you guys switch our 1st round and our 2nd round picks, then you guys would not say anything about this. At the end of the day, we got our starting tackle in the 1st round and we got our starting free safety in the 2nd round. So with the 79th overall selection, the Raiders went out and got Malcolm Koonce, defensive end out of Buffalo. Now, again, like I said it before, I did not know anything about this guy. So I was wondering, who the hell is this guy? Now, did I hate the pick? No, because when I went and looked at his film, I was intrigued and I was really happy to see what he could do on our team. Now, he is one of the most underrated defensive ends in this year's draft. And I believe if he went to a bigger school, he would get a lot more recognition and he would have been a day 1, maybe an early 2nd round pick. But the fact that he went to Buffalo, I mean, that's why he fell so far. And a lot of people did have a round 2 grade on him. So the fact that we got him in the 3rd round, I think was a good move for the Raiders. Now, he is considered to be the best player to come out of Buffalo since Khalil Mack. Ironically for us, we know a thing or two about, getting guys out of Buffalo. Koonce is a natural pass rusher and most likely will be used on 3rd downs. And when this guy says that he likes to make quarterbacks uncomfortable, he really likes to make quarterbacks uncomfortable. He has speed, he's a bendy player, he explodes off the line of scrimmage and has a plethora of moves on the defensive line. And in his 4 seasons at Buffalo, he totaled 109 tackles, 22.5 tackles for loss, and 17 sacks. Now, Koonce will help bolster up this defensive line with some youth, and if we could develop him into a solid pass rusher in the NFL, then this will be a huge win for the Raiders in round 3. Now with the 80th overall selection, the Raiders went out and drafted Divine Diablo, safety/linebacker out of Virginia Tech, standing at 6'3", 229 pounds. Other than having a badass last name, Diablo is such a physically gifted player. Now even though he plays safety over at Virginia Tech, he will be moved over to that weak side linebacker role here in Las Vegas, which would make a lot of sense considering his size. Initially, I wanted to get Jock in this draft because of his versatility and his range, but we already know that the biggest biggest knock against him was his size. That's something that we don't have to worry about with Diablo. But Diablo is also a versatile player, can play in the box against the run and play in coverage against tight ends, you know, man to man. And we already know in a division like the AFC West, we got a lot of really talented tight ends and we need players that could cover them. Travis Kelce and Noah Fant. Now, he did say that he models his game after Cam Chancellor. Now, does this mean that he's going to be the next Cam Chancellor? No, but he does have all the skill sets and all the physical traits to be just as good, if not maybe better. Who knows? Now, I don't know if he's going to be a day one starter, but I do believe that he will be an impact player on this team wherever we put him because he's just that versatile. So now we move over to one of my favorite picks in this year's draft, and that was getting Tyree Gillespie here in the 4th round. Now, initially, the Raiders did not have a 4th round pick. We didn't have a pick till what, round 5, but we had the cojones to move up again to select one of the most underrated players and one of the sleeper picks in this year's draft, getting Tyree Gillespie. Gillespie is a versatile player, can play free safety, strong safety, in the slot, or even a little bit of linebacker. He's such a tough physical player, a solid tackler in open space, and is good in coverage and has a lot of range. Now, like what I said in my video yesterday, against some of the top talents in this year's draft, he balled out against them and he held his own. And if you guys go watch his tape, he stands out on film. Now, in his career, he has 148 tackles and 12 pass breakups. And according to PFF, he forced the highest incompletion rate amongst draft eligible safeties with 33.3%. Now, a lot of people are criticizing him, saying that he had no interceptions in college. Okay. This guy's not a wide receiver. What do you expect him to do? Catch balls all the time? I mean, there's a reason why he's playing on the defensive side. But he does break up a lot of passes. Overall, I'm just really excited to have Tyree Gillespie on the roster. I just can't wait to see what the Raiders are going to do with him or how they're going to utilize him. But I know he's going to be a playmaker on the defensive side, and he's going to help this team out a lot. Now, moving over to the 5th round with the 167th overall pick, the Raiders went out and selected Nate Hobbs, cornerback out of Illinois. Now, before the draft, I did not know too much about this guy. He was not on my radar, but from what I see and from what I hear from the Raiders, they really like this guy and love his versatility to play outside. Now, he is a physical corner, and the Raiders do plan to play him a little bit on the inside, but we'll see how well he plays there. He has good ball skills, has that sideline to sideline speed, and he still does have to clean up some stuff, but he does provide a lot of depth to our secondary room. And it's going to be a battle in that secondary. You know, we got a lot of young players there with Trayvon Moehrig, Isaiah Johnson, Damon Arnett, Amik Robertson, and so on and so forth. Now, in his career, he's tallied 18 pass breakups, 3 interceptions, and 12.5 tackles for loss. The Raiders do see something in Hobbs, so it'll be interesting to see how they would utilize him this season. Now, with our last pick in this year's draft, with the 230th overall selection that we got for the San Francisco 49ers, we went out and selected Jimmy Morrissey, center out of Pitt. Now, he's a 3-time All-ACC player, a 2-time Pitt captain, and he also won the 2020 Burlsworth Trophy, which goes out to the most outstanding college football player who began as a walk-on. He started 47 of 50 games at Pitt, only missing 3, and allowed only 2 sacks in the last 2 seasons. Now, he was happy to be a Raider, and he promised the Raiders that he would give them everything that he's got. I mean, all the players do say that when they get drafted by a team, so hopefully he could keep that promise. He does have a lot of upside, but he will have to fight for a spot on this roster. Again, I believe that this would be another player that would just provide some depth on this team. If I had to give an overall grade to our Raiders draft class in 2021, I would have to give it a B+. You look at it, we got 2 day one starters in Trevon Moehrig and Alex Leatherwood, and then you got 2 players that are going to be rotational pieces that can provide some impact on the defensive side, and Malcolm Koonce and Divine Diablo. And then you got a guy in the 4th round that could come in and play wherever you want him to play on the defensive side because he's just that versatile and he's a playmaker in Tyree Gillespie. The only 2 questionable picks that I would have to say would be James Morrissey and getting Nate Hobbs with our last 2 picks. But again, they're guys with a lot of upside. So what grade would you guys give the Raiders draft class in 2021, Raider Nation? Let me know down in the comments below. All right, Raider Nation, that is all I have for you guys today on this video. If you guys enjoyed the video, don't forget to smash that like button. And if this is the first time you're watching my video or you're a Raider fan and you love the Las Vegas Raiders, then hit that subscribe button, hit that notification icon button just to notify you guys when I upload more videos just like this. Until the next video, Raider Nation, this your boy Samoa Raider, and your boy is yeah.